The federal opposition plans to introduce a private members bill next week to overturn the government's decision to allow apple imports from New Zealand. Australian orchardists opposed the relaxing of a 90-year ban, saying it could expose their crops to the disease fire blight. But the government says it's bound by the World Trade Organisation to lift the ban. As Tim Callanan reports, it's an anxious time for Victoria's Goulburn Valley.
Apple and pear farmers have suspected for some time this decision was coming, but it still hurts.
For our industry to be sacrificed on the altar of free trade by Joe Ludwig and Emerson, we find reprehensible.
Peter Hall's family have grown fruit in Victoria's Goulburn Valley for 3 generations. He fears an outbreak of fire blight could bring that dynasty to an end.
And in California, they do not grow pears there any longer because their conditions are very similar to the Goulburn Valley, and fire blight has basically nailed that industry.
The Tasmanian government says it will use its island status to fight the importation of apples from New Zealand. The government says it's complying with World Trade Organisation rules, and it's condemned opposition plans to introduce a bill to overturn the decision.
This would be the first time in Australia's history that Australia refused to accept a decision of the World Trade Organisation.
For Australia to go all the way and not implement a finding of the international judicial system would cause a serious question about Australia's credibility.
The government fears reinstating the ban would create a trans-Tasman trade war, jeopardising $8 billion worth of agricultural exports to New Zealand. But it's a war that means little to the people of Shepparton in the Goulburn Valley.
We don't want some outsider, with the help of the federal government, coming in and spoiling what we've got here. It just seems crazy.
Major supermarkets, Coles and Woolworths, have no plans to stock New Zealand apples while local fruit is plentiful. But apple and pear farmers fear their industry could already be starting to wither on the vine. Tim Callanan, ABC News, Shepparton.